So yesterday, I watched James Gunn's new Superman movie, and here is what I thought about it. My name is Hayden Baker, and welcome back to Hayden Cinnamon. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, turn on your notification bell, that way you can stay up to date with every single one of my posts. So before I get into my review, I want to say two things. One was that my theater experience overall was kind of ruined. I will get more into that later with my mixed and my negative part of my review. That being one thing, and the second thing being that I'm not a Superman fan. I've never leaned towards Superman. I've never leaned towards DC except for Batman, but specifically Superman, since this is my Superman review. I have no history really with Superman other than the animated series when I was really little, and I remember Superman Returns coming out when it came out, and I did not really like it either. I've never seen any of the Christopher Reeves movies. I will right that wrong. I've also never seen Man of Steel. I'm actually in the middle of watching that now. But as I said, I've never seen a Superman movie until now. This is the first one I've actually watched in full length, and the only one I've watched in theater. So with that being said, go ahead and join me down in the comments and let me know what your thoughts are on the Superman movie. What are you expecting from James Gunn and this reinvention of the DCU? And what did you think of Superman? So starting with the positives right off the bat, I'm going to give credit to where credit is due, and that is James Gunn. I think what he did with this film was fantastic, almost entirely through and through. I think his direction was phenomenal. I loved every single thing about this movie for the most part. This was a pretty flawless job in my opinion for what I expected going into it. As far as what my expectations were, every single one of them were met, and they were surpassed. I think this is a really good start for the new DCU universe. James Gunn has such a strict vision for what he wants for his movies. When you see a James Gunn movie, you can automatically tell, hey, that is done by James Gunn. He does have some quirky humor that he's brought over to the MCU and now bringing over to the DCU. I think as far as the humor goes in the movie, it doesn't weigh it down a whole lot in any way, shape, or form. He doesn't really bring that Marvel humor, but he does bring some of his classic humor to this movie. But that's just with the writing. As far as his direction goes, I think his direction is pretty flawless. I think what he does with the camera is amazing. All the crazy shots, how he knows how to put the camera where a camera shouldn't be put. There are certain segments that look kind of rough, not necessarily shaky cam. I do prefer with the fights and stuff. I do like a wider angle and the more, just wide shots and not so like close up. But in this movie, I really do like when you're the fly on the wall, you're the camera, and you don't feel the camera there. There is such thing as feeling the camera. In this movie, you really don't feel the camera at all. He has a really unique color palette that he uses for a lot of his movies. Each one is pretty strict, and he sticks to those colors. In this one, it is the most variety of colors, but this is from the same palette, just mainly a bunch of different colors. And unlike Guardians, where Guardians 1 is a lot like this film as far as the color palette goes, but like Guardians 2 was pretty strict. Guardians 3 for sure was more red, orange, yellow. This one has a very vibrant yellow, red, blue, white, green, even red and black. There's very strict colors that he uses with this film, and they all worked perfectly. The visual effects are done stunningly. There are some little CGI moments that you can pick apart, but I'm not here to nitpick this movie. And really, I could do this movie a weird review because of my experience that I will get into later. But as far as my emotions and what I felt for the movie alone, not even my experience, just for the movie, what I saw, what translated well, what I was able to relate to, the visual palette, the visuals, the CGI mix, the practical, the location shooting, the action, the cues. All of it was done very, very well. All credit given to James Gunn. Now getting into Superman himself, was he a great Superman? Was this a good reinvention? I don't know because I've never seen really any of the other ones. But as far as him being a Superman, he does great. I think David Cornsweet does a flawless job at being Superman. I loved everything that he had to give and he had to offer. How well he portrays Superman. That really like niche blind spot that he finds between Clark and Superman, and how Superman's only 3 years in. Much like our Batman, how the biggest complaint was we didn't get enough Bruce Wayne. The biggest complaint in this was we didn't get enough Clark Kent. But in a very different way from Batman, this movie is entirely Clark Kent. He hasn't really found his Superman yet. He doesn't. He hasn't really found that splice between Clark and Superman, where, yeah, he puts on the glasses, but he hasn't found that when he takes the glasses off, he's still Clark. But there's something with his emotional ties that he's still he's still trying to separate himself is all I'm trying to say. I'm having a really hard time explaining that, but yeah, he's still trying to separate himself, and he's not really able to do that. And that is a very realistic character trait where he does have a bit of a imposter syndrome and almost like identity crisis within and of himself, but it doesn't get heavy into that whatsoever. The main message of the story and him is that he wants to be treated as a human. There's even a part where he says, every day I try, I don't know what to do. I wake up scared, and all I got to do is just put, one foot in front of the other and just keep moving on. Also, I absolutely adored Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. I think that this is by far my favorite Lex Luthor I've seen. Again, Spacey's about the only other one I've watched. I love Michael Rosenbaum. I think Michael Rosenbaum is the best Lex Luthor we will ever have. But Nicholas Hoult is a very close second. He is Lex Luthor, to say the least. I really loved what he did with this character. He's so menacing and sinister sometimes. He's also really fun and goofy. And he has like a line that I believe was in the trailer and a clip that is out there released by the company, Warner Brothers, but he has this clip where Superman bursts in his office and he's looking for crypto, and then he goes, I have no idea what you're talking about. And then he goes to take a sip of his coffee and you hear him mumble, ugly dog in a cape. And really funny scene, but there's a couple of quirky moments like that of humor that really works, but it's also really messed up. And I ate every bit of it up. And a really crappy segue into Crypto. I really adored Crypto. I am a dog person. I'm an animal person. And I loved Crypto all throughout this movie. Crypto was a great sense of humor that it wasn't a constant repeated joke, but Crypto was also a lot of help for Superman. Again, Superman's only 3 years in. He's just now losing his first battles, and Crypto is a bit of a plot convenience, but still a lot of help for Superman. Crypto does serve a purpose and is not just some humor release on the movie, and it doesn't weigh the movie down at all for me personally. Also, and my last and final positive, besides all the other amazing performances from everyone, is going to be Lois and Clark. And Lois and Clark, I absolutely loved their relationship in this movie. How it has already been found, how she puts him to the test and he puts her to the test. They feel like a real relationship. They understand the struggles of them being together and how they can't be really seen with each other. And you can tell that she's still kind of struggling with whether she's in love with Superman or Clark. It doesn't say it, you can just see it. I think that their visual cues put that off very well. Their chemistry together is off the chain. And in the trailer, you see that scene of her interviewing him and him saying, people were going to die. That is a really staple moment for them too in the movie, and it really weighs in heavy. There's a battle of morals there. And I'm not going to get into who is right and who is wrong. I think it's all objective. But I really do love the challenge that Lois brings into Clark and Superman's life. And now moving on into my mixed, two things. The pacing. The pacing was a little bit off. I felt the run time a pretty good bit in the middle, I will say, but I think that with time and with a rewatch that it will only go up from there. That's why I put it in the middle. I think the expectations that each scene sets you up for the next scene is a little dragging, not in really a bad way, just it's almost tense is how I would put it. Now, with that being said, that is all I have for my mixed, and I mentioned my experience and how rough that was. I mentioned that in the beginning. I mentioned that just a second ago. And this is my negative part of my review, but it really isn't nothing to do with the movie. So, as far as my experience of the movie goes and my experience at the theater, Friday night I went to go watch this or I'd say Friday night, Friday afternoon, I went to go watch this at 3 o'clock. My girlfriend was at work, so I was like, hey, I'm gonna go watch Superman. So I purchased my ticket, got a really cool cup, and I went to walk into the theater and realized the movie was already on. So quietly found me a seat, started watching it, heard rumblings on the internet that the movie kicks off with a lot of action, and it does. It kicks off with a pretty good bit of action, but not in this sense, the way that this action was going. And I was like, that's kind of weird. I've also never been late to a movie, and so that was throwing me off a little bit. And I was like, man, I wonder what kind of like exposition I'd have missed. This is gonna probably suck, but oh well. Sat down immediately, got into the movie. I mean, immediately was dragged into it. Like, was loving every second of it. Thought it was amazing. Lex Luthor's going crazy. Superman's having a fight of his life. Then I started knowing some things that could very well be payoffs. But I'm like, the movie's starting off like this, and then the credits come. And I was like, some crazy intro credits, and those could have been payoffs. What is going on? And then the house lights come on, and I was like, oh my god, there's no way in hell that just happened. And sure enough, I walked into the wrong one. The showing I was supposed to attend was in the back of the theater, and I went to the first one because I looked up, seen Superman, just walked in. So that was on me, my bad. Shouldn't have done that. Yesterday, went in, sat down, super excited, on time, the right theater this time, and there was a baby crying. And I'm telling you this right now, and I posted it on my Twitter. If you bring a baby to a theater, if you can't find a babysitter, if you can't get rid of your kid somehow, especially a little baby, you don't get to go to the movies. I'm sorry. Like, no, seriously. I hope you stub your toe on every door frame. I hope when you finally rest your head on your pillow, there is not a cold side on it and your AC goes out in the hottest day of the summer. Seriously, you suck. Okay? Good thing the movie was so good that I was able to tune it out a pretty good bit. And then this damn baby, tell me why this baby decided to say its first words ever. I swear, I wish I was lying. This baby said mama for the very first time in the theater, and the parents freaked out. As they should. I was kind of happy for them. At the same time, I was like, I want to choke you and your baby out, because why? Like, I'm missing the movie here. That was really irritating. Like, seriously, I'm making jokes. I obviously wouldn't joke a baby or parent. I can't do anything about that. I really don't hope you stub your toe. I hope your feet are fine. But it's really messed up that my experience was like cursed. So both times that I tried watching this movie, I got screwed over. It's okay. It's whatever. But that was a really negative experience for me. And I don't know if that says something about me or what, but that really sucked. So I'm really hoping that when this movie comes out on VOD, and definitely on Blu-ray, I will be buying it probably twice. That's how amazing this movie is. I'm hoping to my watching experience is going to be better, and surely it is, because I'm going to be at home. But that is my review for Superman. I really, really love this movie. Overall, I think it's one of the best comic book movies ever made, and this might even be recency biased. And I'll give a little bit of explanation of this, but my first favorite comic book movie ever made is the 2004 Spider-Man 2 by Sam Raimi. That is my favorite comic book movie ever made. This is my number 2, if that says anything. Now, again, I still haven't seen the other Superman movies. There's quite a bit of DC movies I haven't ever seen. I'm going to try to dive into those and maybe review some. But this movie was fantastic, and to give context to my number 2 and my number 1, Spider-Man 2 being in my top 10, this might be in my top 50. So there's a pretty wide stretch. Endgame and Blade are kind of tied for number 3, and those, maybe even Deadpool and Wolverine, those would be in like my top 100. So there's a pretty good stretch from my 3 to my 2 to my 1, but I really, really love this movie. I think everyone should give it a shot. Please go check it out. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'm going to give Superman 2025 a 4.5 out of 5, but my experience kind of did weigh it down a pretty good bit. A half a star, to be honest with you, because I feel like I missed a lot, but that's not the movie's fault. That is my fault, and that damn baby. So go give it a watch for yourself. If you have seen it, please let me know down in the comments. What did you think about Superman? What are you expecting from the DCU universe by James Gunn? I'm really excited for this universe. I'm really happy this is my first full Superman experience. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, turn on the notification bell. That way you can stay up to date with all of my posts. You can follow me on all of my social medias. They'll all be linked down in the description. As always, again, join me down in the comments. Let's talk Superman. I'm hoping to do a live spoiler chat sometime, or maybe even just a spoiler review. I hope you enjoy watching this just as much as I enjoy making it for you, and I'll see y'all next time.